So we have a huge game in Carolina this weekend. It's the Bucs, it's the Panthers. It hasn't exactly been like a tremendous season for Baker Mayfield or Bryce Young, but good, solid, and two of the best when it comes to late game heroics. 9 game-winning drives between them this season, both top 5 in the NFL. And Carolina head coach Dave Canales spoke moments ago about his team's mindset heading into this big game on Sunday.
Guys are locked in. They're excited. There's an intensity about the group that I can feel from the guys, and it's a good thing. And it's a focus that I really appreciate, and the details that go into this day where we kind of tie the whole game plan in, first, second down, third down, and a little bit of red zone, all that, to be able to get that accomplished. And so I love where we're at, fired up for this weekend.
Of what they're doing this season, Bryce Young and the rebound in his career. Amina, what do you think is going to be the deciding factor, though, in this one?
Whether or not Bryce Young can beat the blitz, because as we saw against Kirk Cousins, this Falcons pass defense is very gettable. You got injuries in the secondary. Ryan McCollum went out. The Falcons went pretty aggressively after his backup into Vildor. The linebackers are pretty vulnerable as well through the air. And we know Tampa loves to blitz, but Bryce Young this season has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL when he's blitzed, as you see here. 30th in QBR, 29th in yards per attempt. Now, that said, his last 2 games, he has been better. I'm thinking about the Rams game in particular. Whenever they sent pressure on money downs, it feels like he found ways to beat it. If he can channel that Bryce Young, then he can absolutely throw on this Bucs defense, because we have seen many quarterbacks do it.
Amina, doesn't it feel like, too, Bryce has to create the explosive plays in those chances and those opportunities? You mentioned what he was against the Rams, whether it was Coker down the sideline in 1-on-1 versus Forbes, or the deep crosser to Teteroa McMillan. Those big plays are what helped this Carolina Panthers offense win that game. And when you go back to Kyle Pitts having that amazing night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it was finding time after time, getting him the opportunities down the football field. Also look at what this Tampa Bay offense can be now that they're healthier. They didn't lose that game because of the offense, unless you're going to look at, I guess, the interception by Baker Mayfield. Can Carolina find ways to match up one-on-one now that they have their 3-headed monster at the wide receiver position? And how can Baker Mayfield get on the same page with those guys? Because recently he's just been slightly off on what could have been some big plays for this Tampa Bay offense.
RC, your same page thing is huge. That has been 2 or 3 weeks, the story. If I were both these teams, I'd throw the heck out of the football in this game. I would be very aggressive, both if I was Tampa and Carolina. And I think it really comes down to, like, that second or third receiver option. Mike Evans is going to get his, right? Ted McMillan is going to get his. Can Emeka kind of rekindle that form that he had for the great majority of early on? Jacob Coker has stepped forward for Carolina and become very much so their number 2 wide receiver, and a viable guy that is winning route running. He's winning with strength. He's running with down the field throws, going up and making plays on the football. And which guy? I'd also love to say this. I want to see Ted McMillan versus Jamel Dean. Ted McMillan for Carolina lines up on the left side of their formation more often than not. That's where he gets most of his catches. That's where he has most of his touchdowns. Dean often lines up on an offense's left, defense's right. Watching that veteran corner versus that young receiver, who wins that matchup?
And also, too, Jamel Dean has been a lot better than I think people give him credit for. You know, there's been years where he hadn't played well, but down the stretch, these last couple of years, he's been extremely reliable at that position, and he hasn't given up touchdowns, and that's going to be very important in this weekend.
Yeah, he has the experience. As we take a look at our picks, I'm the only one on the Panthers, because I hate the gong. They've had some magic at home, and they meet this team again in a couple weeks. They have to get this one.
Hannah,
is that okay?
Way to be a team player. Way to be a team player.
I was just saving us.
Honestly, the Panthers win every game they're not supposed to win, so
Mina, you said you weren't picking Panthers games anymore.
Yeah.
I would prefer not to, but they made me.
Practice today, but they're is not definitive news. Well, actually, we may have news coming up. We know when he won't be back. We don't know when he will actually be back after having surgery to repair a partially collapsed lung after a dry needling treatment at the Steelers facility. He did miss, obviously, the team's Monday night win over the Dolphins. We are going right to the source. Our Steelers reporter, Brooke Pryor, for the very latest on his status against the Lions on Sunday.
That's right, Hannah. TJ Watt is out on Sunday against the Lions, but the good news is that he was at practice today. He didn't participate, but he was there watching on. And a day earlier, he was, as you can see right there, at the team facility for the Pittsburgh Symphony's visit. They performed for the rookies. I'm sure RC knows all about that.
RC
The rookies
is over here
got
clapping.
to participate with them.
Yes.
No word on if TJ played the trumpet or trombone, but I'm going to guess probably not. They did get some good injury news, though, while Watt is out and Nick Herbig is doubtful.
Okay.
Derek Harmon will be on the field.
Ooh, that's big, right?
Big run stopper, rookie, first-round defensive tackle. Even better, he's from Detroit, and he has played at Ford Field.
Nice.
Little League Championship and in high school. And he said he's won some of those games, too, so he has a good record there.
I mean, listen, they need all the help they can get stopping the run, all right? And he has made a difference when he's been in the game. Another guy who we have noticed a big difference in the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if bringing MVS and Adam Thielen aboard has had much to do with this, but Aaron Rodgers and the offense has been lighting it up. What are they saying in the facility about that?
Yeah, they definitely have been. And Aaron Rodgers said that all of that goes back to practice. And he said the easiest way to make these December games easier, honestly, is to make games like practice and practice like games. And he said that he has noticed an uptick in the execution and the energy in practice throughout the week. That's been crucial. And he also added that there's been more professionalism in the offense since adding Thielen and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I don't think that's necessarily a shot at any of the other receivers, but those guys are vets who've been in the league a long time. They know all about December football. That's really elevated things. And the run game really got going in the win against the Dolphins, particularly with Kenny Gainwell, Jalen Warren coming in there. They've got that duo figured out. So there's going to be 4 really good running backs on the field on Sunday, maybe a little bit of a running back duel.
Yeah, and I was there at the Steelers facility following that Buffalo loss, and I asked Cam Hayward, when Aaron Rodgers called out his receivers, how does that kind of thing land in the Steelers locker room? He said that was perfect for us. We're all about accountability. That's what he talks, and he said that lit a fire under the other guys. Brooke, love having you. Thanks. Happy holidays. love the sparkle, as Brooke always brings. All right, Mima, on the other side of this one, the Lions are fighting to stay in the playoff race. Now, according to ESPN Analytics, the Lions have a 46% chance to make it with a win over the Steelers, just a 16% chance with a loss. The Lions, by the way, haven't made 3 straight playoff appearances since, the early 90s, from 93 to 95. So, Dan the Man, how do you look to attack? We already talked about that running game, that Steelers defense.
Yeah, I would throw it early downs. I don't think, if there's no TJ Watt to Brooks' report and potentially no Nate Herbig, I don't think this pass rush can get after Jared Goff in this offensive pass game. And the fact that right now Jared Goff isn't in the playoffs is a sin. He's having a fantastic year, top 5 in just about everything. He lit this Rams defense up not only a week ago and threw it all around. And I would throw on early downs versus this Pittsburgh defense that, even though they were coming off of a very good performance against Tua in the Miami offense, you could see that there were throws there in windows that Tua just didn't see and or get the football to. If I'm Detroit, I want to lean heavily on throwing those in-breaking play-action passes on early downs and create those chunks to players like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there, especially if Pittsburgh sells out to stop the run and they get a lot of single high. That's just going to be right for Jared to attack them with play action. If they don't, and the Steelers have shown some willingness to mix things up against specific opponents, I think about the Colts game, the Dolphins game, to be honest, to some degree, I think they'll be able to attack the edges on the ground. Derek Harmon being back is really helpful. When you go back to the way the Bills ran on them, duo, weak side zone, going after those corners, the Lions' skill players block just as good, if not better. And that, to me, is a mismatch that really favors Detroit. So, I think both, honestly, through the air and on the ground, there are ways for Detroit to have a lot of success in this one, but they're going to have to feel out how Pittsburgh plays them and whether they sell out to stop the run.
Yeah, you also have to think, what is Terrell Austin, the defensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers, going to do to fill some of those gaps of the missing players, right? How are you going to get pressure? You think about early on this season, we started to see Patrick Queen more involved in some of the pressures on third down, and they were a team that would go man-to-man. Do they really believe that they can cover Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and J-Mo Williams one-on-one? And you look at this Detroit team, when Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't have a great game or when he isn't impactful, that next game they're always extremely intentional about getting the football into his hands in space. And so we could not watch film, right, and come in here every week and say, hey guys, Jahmyr Gibbs is a big matchup. But I do believe this week, if you aren't going to get some of that pressure from the Herbigs and the TJ Watts that you're used to, they're going to have to add to the rush. So they're going to give Jahmyr Gibbs opportunities one-on-one in space, and there's no running back better than him at catching the football and making those plays go from 5-yard catches to 80-yard gains.
I hear everything you're saying. And as we look at our picks, I guess that's why you're leaving me hanging on the Steelers radar.
Yeah.
Wow.
Guys.
Wow.
Don't put that camera on me, though.
Man.
Sometimes.
No, Ryan, stand on it. Stand on it. You heard us talking